Let me minimize this. So folks, earlier on, someone had asked about where we see, where can we find material on all procurements. Let's talk all procurements. I'm going to hide the meeting. So this is a website that's called Cali Procure. If you look up here in the top left, caliprocure.ca.gov, and this is a homepage. This is free to us, the public. And you can do a lot of different things here. You can register your small business with the California state government. You can look at the various state contracts, and you can look at what I enjoy doing. I'm one of those people that likes to, I was going to say crazy people, that likes to look at past procurements. And what you saw on that screen was something that I referred to as SCPRS, SCPRS, SCPRS. That's always been the acronym used over the years, SCPRS, State Contracting and Procurement Registration System. And what this is, it's a checkbook, really, of all of the reported acquisitions for the California state government, covering years of acquisition. One of the questions that often comes up, well, who does not have to report? Well, anybody that has their own, what I understand from the Department of General Services, any department that has their own financial system outside of fiscal. Fiscal is the state's financial system. So that would be the kind of the biggest departments do not have to report into SCPRS. So you see up here, fiscal, SCPRS in the left column. I'm sorry, the left part of the screen. Again, this came from Cali Procure, the website. Past purchases right here, the link I clicked on, and now we're here. But now when I say that, I have yet to find somebody who has not reported. So I thought, well, maybe the Public Employment Retirement System called CalPERS, or State Teachers Retirement System called CalSTRS, or big old Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, or Department of Justice. But I find their procurements here. I don't know if they're all there, but I find them. I even find some of the CSU systems, some of the educational groups in here, some of those facilities. So when you go to SCPRS, you see this a little bit maybe older school looking screen. I'm an older guy now. I can use the phrase old school. And you can do a variety of things. You can type in a keyword. If someone had a keyword, and let's type, oh, I don't want to type. Give me a keyword, Steve.
Keyword IBM.
Oh man, that's going to pull up a big. So if I pull it, I could say IBM, and I could give a date range. There are some mandatory fields, but I could look at a date range. Let me just go from July 1, 2020 to today. Yeah, that's fine. Bam. Now, one thing about SCPRS that's a little funny to me, when I press search, I didn't see anything. When I first looked at this years ago, I was looking for something spinning. It's actually up here in the right corner. See, that's how we know it's working. It sounds silly on my part, but I often would keep clicking, but it's up there in the right-hand corner. Anyway, so I just did a search on the keyword IBM. This assumes the buyer typed in the keyword IBM. The acquisition had the keyword IBM. And then you look at all of the procurements in this chronological order. And there's our friends at Wavestrong right off the top, Dan. Awesome. And you see the department name, the purchase document, and the description, the reseller. And then what I look at is the acquisition method. So this is fair and reasonable. So this is the SOP, what we're just talking about. So this shows us some really important data. So we use this kind of data for a couple of different reasons. Like, why would I go back in and look at all of this data? Like, I've worked in the document imaging industry for decades, and with people like Laserfish and even IBM and FileNet. So we will use this kind of system to go back in, not looking necessarily, although it's an important, all of them are important, but we might look at when was the last time they renewed their FileNet maintenance, for example, or some data, and then we will then approach that department with that kind of data. As we all know in sales and marketing, it's so much better to have data that you've done your research with a buyer, with a department. rather than calling and, back in the, again, old school days, hey, what do you guys have? Well, we don't ask that anymore. We haven't asked that question to departments in years because we can look. And now we can ask them, oh, I saw that you had a procurement done with IBM using IT goods and the MB and the SB, micro business or small business. So now you're getting a sense of how they acquire. Did they use a DVBE program? This is just again, the checkbook of using the key phrase IBM within a little bit more than the last year. And I think of what I saw at the top of that was 152 acquisitions of using that phrase. Now, let's change that to FileNet just for fun. And I'll click search again. Now, what's also very nice, and I'll show this to you too, is you can do things like we like to do is download the Excel spreadsheet or the CSV file, and then use that to slice and dice up the information as you want. We will use that also to contact a buyer. Many, many buyers are very, very friendly. Some are not, and that's okay. That's, they might be buried. Remember often, and Steve, you could speak to this, the buyers, in my opinion, are following the guidelines. They're following the law. If they need 3 quotes, they're going to get 3 quotes. Often, the only way they're going to add my companies that I represent to their list is by kind-heartedly pursuing them, if you will, from my standpoint. I send them news, I send them what's called statement of qualifications you'll hear about from the Department of General Services, just a 1-page sheet of the things you're doing, the certifications you have, and the contracts, most importantly, that you have, and your small business certification to these buyers, and then stay in touch with those buyers in this process. So that's how we start using this data that's available to anybody to search. And again, all I did was go to the Cal eProcure website, free website. I'm in Google Chrome. I can look at bid opportunities in the state by keywords in the same manner. And then like I'm doing here, I'm using Skippers, as it's called, to go back in and look at the California State checkbook. So that's what this is. Then once we have the data, and here's a bunch of FileNet acquisitions, you can look at another hyperlink here is a purchase doc. If I click on that purchase doc, it will then show me the acquisition of the quantity and the price paid. That's also really, for us, that's wonderfully important. There's some markets where somebody says, I don't know if I can pursue that. I don't have that leverage. I don't have that kind of dollar to offer. I can't discount that low. We ask them, of course, to think about their leverage, best value statements. Whatever makes you unique that you could add into a procurement, that you can offer to the department. Asking the buyer, would they consider it on the next acquisition? That's important. As Steve mentioned, they're often looking at those kinds of acquisitions, unless it's just a straight up piece of software to procure or whatever it may be. So let me make sure I'm not missing any questions here. I have a tendency just to keep talking. All right, cool. So, and then once I have my results, then we will download by just clicking this button here called download the results, download search results. We do that all the time. And it just gives us this nice CSV. You see the little right window. Don't look to the left like I used to do. Look to the right. That's where the thing spins. And then you can see, for example, like in our list, I'll bring this up. This was where I had downloaded all of, when someone asked, where'd you get the data of $601 million? We downloaded that data. You see up here, we did it by 2 different classifications. I failed to mention that. If you want to look at the acquisition type, you may do that, IT goods, IT services. So we will do those searches. We ourselves do those searches to get our research. And once we have that, we'll download that file. And it'll look like this. So now I have, here's a list. This is the IT goods at the top left and the name of the Excel spreadsheet. We saved it as a workbook once we're working on it. This is July 1, 2020 through July 1, 2021. And it takes us through all of the acquisitions, and you can see there are a bunch of them. Let me just do Control N and bypass and there is 1,644. And then you can research, and this is where we got our 1.2 billion. 1.27 billion is how much was acquired through IT goods, reported acquisitions, July 1, 2020 through July 1, 2021. And again, that data is invaluable for us. That helps us. We'll talk to departments. You can sort this, as you folks know in Excel, you can sort by name, department name, or whatever it may be. So really, really good data, free to any user online. You can just go to that website again where I was, Cal eProcure, and search away. And again, just like a strategic plan is used prior to calling a department, a lot of departments now have strategic plans online. DMV does that quite frequently. This also is wonderful background material to connect to people. Another really important question maybe, I ask buyers, do they segment their buyers by product? And many of the larger ones do. So they have a software team or they have a hardware team. And guess who are going to be my new best friends? All those software people that are acquiring for one department. Yes, there are 200 departments plus all the CSUs, plus all the big cities, plus all the big counties. It's a big job, but it's what we do when we're looking into past acquisitions and looking at how people have acquired. So let me just, again, ensure, is there any further questions that we have here, folks? Steve, do you have any questions?
I sure don't.
So you didn't learn anything from what I just said, did you?
I tried, but yeah, no, I did. I appreciate that demonstration.
I'm trying to put $5 through the computer for you for that answer. I greatly appreciate that.
No, it was great.
All right, sir. Thank you kindly. I'm just making sure I don't miss anything on the questions. My little maybe if okay. So I'm going to stop sharing now, folks. And again, oh, here we go. Just make sure I got all those. So to answer one of the questions, where can a small business owner see all the SLP procurements? If you noticed in that list, we had already the bottom left. I had already searched on I've already categorized by doing. Here's the big list, if you will. The acquisition method tells me the type, and then we separate those into all of those. Let me just see, where did I put the IT? Oh, right here, acquisition. In our case, it's column M, and then we sort on all the SLP contracts, and we put them in a new list. So that's how we do it. And we'll put them all in a new list and see who's buying and from whom. And for those people who are know of or are part of a disabled veteran business enterprise, you will see your formidable competitors, probably Allied Network. If my memory does me well, it's out of 500 plus transaction, a great deal of them went to Allied. So at least you know who your competition is in the DVBE space, if you will. So and then so anyway, that's how we slice that's where you can find the data and dice up the data. And then again, how we use it is reaching out to the buyers once we have all that data. And as you folks know in sales and marketing, once we reach out once, someone asked me, do they ever get off my target list? I say, no, never. Anyway, but it's all very kind-hearted and fun. And a lot of buyers will give you some really, really good insight. Some won't, but many will. So, all right, folks. Listen, we appreciate it's a day after the holiday, a well-deserved holiday. I'll send out material of this and the background and contact information. We try to post on LinkedIn and our Facebook private group where there's bids that come out. And yeah, and if any further question, we'll get you our contact info and you can ask away. Steve, any final words, sir?
No, I think you did a great job, Matt. Thank you for inviting me, and I enjoyed helping out if I could.
Absolutely. Well, yes, I appreciate your time too, Steve. Thank you, sir. All right, folks. Thank you so kindly, and we will talk soon, I hope.